Well, hello there. It's been a while. Actually, a bit over 2 months, I think. Yeah, so I skipped the devlog a month ago because we had two pretty intense last months. The first reason being we had the first public playtest open, and the second one was a Comic-Con. So Comic-Con here in Montreal, Quebec, where we attended for the first time, so you can see the beautiful banner here. So yeah, there was a lot going on for the past 2 months. But yeah, anyways, we're gonna dive into what we did, well, what I did for the past 2 months. So let's get into it. So as I said, we had our first ever public playtest, and it was great, honestly. Of course, we had a couple of issues, bugs here and there, but honestly, the feedback was really good, and we had a lot of recommendations of new mechanics and stuff that we could add to make the game better. So really, all in all, it was a great first public playtest, and for sure, we're gonna make other ones coming in a couple of months, maybe. So really good on that part. Recently, for the first time ever, I held a booth at a con. So here in Montreal, we had a Comic-Con, and we were invited by the Zone Indie from Loadouts Quebec. And we had the chance to show the game to everyone, and again, it was an amazing weekend. But I'm not gonna lie, we were freaking done after the weekend, so it's a pretty intense experience. I had, luckily, the help of my brother and my girlfriend, so we were able to, rotate there. But it's a pretty intense experience, but one that I'll most likely do again. So welcome back to the Citadel, guys. Right now you're seeing the second boss that we've made for World 2. So World 2 is actually most of the way completed. We've done a lot of modules, a lot of new events as well, that was not there previously, and we also did, of course, right now, the new boss. Aside from that, let's actually quit out of this here. We did a lot during those 2 months. So of course we had a lot of patching and stuff to do in the back end, meaning because we had the playtests and the Comic-Con, we need to have builds that are very, very stable. So there was a lot of patching, fixing a couple of issues. Another thing that we tackled a lot was the feel of the game. What I mean by the feel of the game is camera sensitivity and stuff like that. So we added a lot of options in the gameplay settings, such as, the UI scale, camera sensitivity, mouse smoothing. So that's something that by default is on, so it's just, a bit of a nicer experience. But I know like some, more hardcore FPS people, myself included in some cases, would like to have that off, so just have that option as well. The damage numbers, inverted axis for controllers, for example. So a lot of back-end stuff, key bindings and such, that just to make the experience as smooth as we possibly could for the Comic-Con again, or the playtest. Now, aside from that, in terms of pure content, new content that we did, that I did, there's actually quite a few things that we did. I keep going back to I don't know why. So, for instance, just the passives. So we added about, I would say, around 10 to 15 passives, and we're still adding more. So right now what you're seeing, like the aura effect that I have going around me, is one of the starting passives, and this is right here, the Praetorian Allegiance, that grants a buff. So I wanted to push a bit more of that, that supporting aspect, cooperation. So right now we already had some healing spells and tanking abilities, but with this new update from the last devlog, I pushed that a lot more. So adding a couple of abilities to grant, buffs to players, or passives that will, power up players around you as well. In terms of actives, we also added quite a lot. So I'll be jumping, I'll show you guys in a bit those things. And we also did a couple of things. So during the playtest, we encountered a couple of not issues, but things that a lot of players pointed out. So we wanted to make the experience as good as possible. And one of those things was the gun that you can see behind me. So I'm always starting with 2 weapons now. So the one in my loadout and the junk rifle, which is this gun here. And this weapon is the equivalent of a pistol, meaning it has unlimited bullets, but is not super, super strong. So you can see here, I'm always starting with 2 weapons. And that is because of the playtest. So because of you guys that pointed out that, it can happen that you're missing some bullets. Even though, like, in the actual arena, you have enemies that can drop bullets, you can have, the guns and go that have bullets, and you can also find bullets on, dead bodies and such. So even with all that, it is still possible for a player to run out of bullets, and if that player does not have many damaging abilities, well, you're basically stuck. And even though if you have damaging abilities, you're still waiting for your cooldown, so you're basically running around the map just waiting for your cooldowns. So we added this junk rifle, and I think it's going to be interesting as well for, achievements and such to be able to say like, oh, if you do the entire run with just a junk rifle, because it can still be upgraded, it still has, you know, normal stats. If you're doing the run with just a junk rifle, you can get achievements and stuff like that. So I think it can be an interesting weapon. So we had other, you know, suggestions, a bunch of things. One of the things that came a lot was the use, not the use, but the need for a map. And right now, I've decided not to put a map just yet, because I feel that getting lost in the Citadel is kind of part of, you know, the lore aspect. You know, the Citadel is always moving, so you can't really chart a map of the Citadel. With that being said, there was quite a lot of people that pointed it out, so maybe if I, you know, later down the line, maybe I'll implement something. So it's still something, you know, that's gonna maybe come later. But yeah, so basically you guys are really important in the development process, just to basically point these things out. You know, if there's some stuff that you guys think needs, maybe is needed in there, or that needs to be changed, the playtest is really there for that. Now, enough of this. What I'll do, I'll jump into the lobby world. So as I said, in terms of actual new maps, the main content is the boss that you saw at the start of the video here, and the second world, which is, you know, mostly completed. So there's still a lot of work to be done, but the first pass of the second world is almost completed. So we're soon going to start on World 3. With that being said, right now I'm concentrating as well on adding new enemies and stuff like that. So if we jump into the game, I'll hit play. Jump into our lobby area. Oh, there was a lot of optimizing as well, because the game, I did not optimize a lot of stuff prior to you know, playtests, and now it's really more optimized. We have NPCs. I don't think we had them in the previous build. So right now, when you do runs, you'll be able to unlock stuff. So in the shop here, so right now I have an unlock all button, so it's going to be empty, but when you come here, you're going to be able to spend your prisms to unlock new starting weapons, new actives, new passives. So it's all going to be here that you're able to unlock those things. Even in the playtest, we still, you know, leave those unlocked. So if you guys want to try certain abilities out, you can, you know, purchase them. If we go in the loadouts here, so the loadout itself didn't change a whole lot since last time, but of course we added a lot of abilities. So right now, I would say I'm still, you know, adding new abilities just because I have different ideas for new abilities. In terms of active abilities, I think we may have around 5 to 10 more than the last devlog. I'm trying to remember. We added, I think we already had melee weapons last time. So in terms of weapon, I don't think there's too many changes. We're still, you know, making new cursed weapons as well. Aside from that, it's really just, you know, new passives. So passive, we have a couple that I can show you here, but actually if I jump out of the game and we can take a look at the size of the database of the passives, you can take a look and see, like, we're getting there, you know, there's quite a lot of passives, still a lot to be done, already a list of things written down for passives, and some of them will be a bit more crazy as well. So like we have the basic, you know, more damage, more resistance, but I'm trying to make passives that are a bit more interesting, like, you know, giving you specific powers for your build. We also added a couple new things in terms of map generation. So the map generation now has a seed system and difficulty settings. So if I jump back into my lobby here for a second, you have a bunch of NPC that you can now interact with, and we're still trying to implement, well, I'm still trying to implement some lore aspect. Well, there's already lore written down, but nothing that's actually reachable for the players just yet. So I'm still trying to make that happen, but you can also come here and outside, before you just had the expedition, now you can come to this guy here, and when you talk to him, you can shift the different difficulty settings. And boy, oh boy, the Raider difficulty is freaking hard. So if you guys have the chance to try it again on playtest, if you guys manage Raider difficulty, I'm going to be proud of you guys. Anyway, so we have that, and we also made a seed system. So when you generate your map, instead of just having something random, you can, if you want to, enable the seed system, and then you can type in any number that's a 4-digit number, and you'll be able to try out that seed, and it's always going to be the same system. So if you want to play a specific map, or maybe like eventually like players will be able to tell you, oh, that specific run has crazy loot inside of it, and then you'll be able to input that seed. So we have a seed system that we did, and as well in the map generation we added a couple of things, mainly like a challenge room. So a room, maybe if I jump in my other level, we can be able to show you guys. Let's jump into World 2. So let's let that build for a second, and let's try this out. So simulate. So here you can see a challenge room. So basically it's a huge room with a spectre in the center of it, and you can challenge him to get big rewards. So it's something that you will definitely come close to dying, especially at high difficulty, but it'll get you some pretty good loot, so yeah, you can upgrade your stuff even earlier in the game. So we have specific stuff like that in Mad Generation that I want to add. So right now, like I talked a bit about Mad Generation and modules. So the D modules, so the special modules, we want to add more different types as well, just so that the experience really is always different. So yeah, so thank you for tuning in to devlog number 3. Now, it may take a while before I do the next one. It may be more than a month, not gonna lie, it depends on the workload, but I'm gonna try to be as consistent as possible and to keep you guys updated on the progress, and as well inform you as soon as we do the next playtest, because I know a couple of you are following us mainly for the playtest, so we're gonna be holding another one in about a month or two, probably. So anyways, we'll keep you guys updated. Thank you, and I'll talk to you guys soon.